and spooky month is upon us. Sorry for not posting this archetype video sooner. I would have done it sooner, but I needed to think about what card archetype I wanted to make for spooky month. But finally, it hit me one day yesterday at work. An archetype that could involve multiple horror themes. Horrorland. Releasing in core set All Hallows Eve Terror. Horrorlands are a mixture of monsters that support each other and support their main boss. So we're gonna scare up the graveyard to see what lies underneath and see what friends we can invite to lighten up the party. It's time to get your spook on with Horrorland Explained. So what's the deal with Horrorland? Well, they're mostly a series of they're all dark attribute that share references to famous horror movies or horror-related stories, which I will explain down the line. Katrina, the Guide of the Headless Horseman, is a level 4 dark attribute themed type monster with 1800 attack and 1200 defense, and is based on Katrina Van Tassel from the story of Sleepy Hollow, or the Tim Burton film of the same name. And when this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Horrorland spell or trap from your deck from your deck or grave to your hand. And when a Horrorland monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one monster on your field, then as a quick effect, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its attack or defense, whichever is higher, but it's your choice if tied. So this sort of works like an Evil Hero Inferno Wing. Evil Hero Inferno Wing's effect is very similar. She dealt damage equal to either the monster's attack or defense, whichever was higher, or your choice if tied. So this allows you to synchro summon to sync off and to allow you to do a lot of things for what you have. Edith, Spirit of Crimson Peak, is a level 4 zombie tuner effect monster with 1800 attack and 0 defense. And she's based on Edith Cushing from the Guillermo del Toro horror movie Crimson Peak. Now, why zombie? Spoilers for the end of Crimson Peak. At the end of that movie, Edith may have died, so probably that's why she's a zombie. Forever cursed to haunt the estate of Horrorland forever. And her effect is this card cannot be used for synchro material except for a dark monster. And when this card is normal or special summoned, target one Horrorland monster you control, then pick a level between 1 and 6. That monster's level becomes the declared level until the end of the turn, but you cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck except dark monsters. So this is basically a double-edged sword. It blocks you out of your extra deck except for zombie monsters, but it can be useful. Mosquito Man, the Horrorland creature, is a dark attribute reptile effect monster with 2,000 attack and 2,400 defense, and is based on the classic horror film Creature from the Black Lagoon. And cannot be normal as effect. It cannot be normal summoned or set, and must be special summoned by having 7 reptile monsters with different names in your grave. And when this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Horrorland spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And when this card is destroyed by battle, you can add 1 Swamp of the Horrorland creature from your deck to your hand. Now you can probably predict that he's the one who created this horror mesh Avengers team. That's where you're wrong. We'll get into who founded this team later. Nancy Archer, the Horrorland Giantess, is a level 10 dark attribute fiend type monster with 4,000 attack and 2,000 defense, and is based on Nancy Archer from the film Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. And this card cannot be special normal summon or set, and must be special summoned by having 7 fiend type monsters in your grave, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. And when this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Horrorland card, except Nancy, the Horrorland Giantess, from your deck to your hand. And when this card is destroyed by battle, you can add 1 Rise of the 50-Foot Woman to your hand. From your deck to your hand. Now, each of the cards we'll be talking about for the trap section are references to points in Nancy's life. The Horrorland Giantess reference is to when she was on her rampage, seeking revenge on her cheating husband. Now we're moving on to our founder of this Horrorland town. Headless Horseman, the Ghost of Horrorland, is a level 7 Fiend Synchro Effect monster with 2,500 attack and 2,000 defense, requiring Edith, Spirit of the Crimson Peak, and 1 or more non-tuner dark monsters as material. And when this card is synchro summoned using monsters whose levels was changed by Edith's Spirit of the Crimson Peaks effect, this card gains attack equal to that monster's attack until the end of the turn. And when this card is destroyed by battle, you can banish Katrina, Guide of the Headless Horseman, and quick effect special summon this card. Now, possibly the reason why Katrina joined the Headless Horseman was because she believed that he can take her to Ichabod, who went missing 10 years prior to these events. That's all of our monsters. Now let's get into our spells and traps for this part 1. Swamp of the Horrorland creature is a field spell that all Horrorland monsters gain 500 attack and defense and cannot be destroyed by card effects. Now these two traps are similar, so I'll just give them to you in a rapid fire way. Rise of the 50-Foot Woman is a normal trap that activates only when Nancy Archer, the Horrorland Giantess, is destroyed. You target Nancy, the Horrorland Giantess, and special summon it, ignoring summoning conditions. It gains 500 attack and defense, and if Nancy Archer, the Horrorland Giantess, is destroyed again, you can add 1 Death of the 50-Foot Woman from your deck to your hand. This card is a reference to Nancy's growth spurt. Let's move on to our final card in this archetype. Death of the 50-Foot Woman is a continuous trap. When Rise of the 50-Foot Woman is destroyed while equipped to Nancy the Horrorland Giantess, special summon Nancy the Horrorland Giantess, but negate its effects, and its attack and defense become halved until the end of the turn. And if Nancy Archer leaves the field, the Horrorland Giantess is destroyed again for the last time. It's banished, and this card is destroyed. So this adds on a bad dose. Now this adds on a bad case of. Now this sadly leaves something bad into the way. Nancy's attack is half. Her attack and defense is half. And Nancy's effects are negated till the end of the turn. So if Nancy's destroyed, you don't get her back. She's banished. But Nancy is limited to 3, so you can have multiple copies. You just have to stock your grave with 7 Fiend-type monsters to special summon her. That's all of our Horrorland cards for now. What do we do with them? Well, they mostly work together in ways. So, what do we do with them? Simple. These cards are reliant on fiends and other archetypes. So I would suggest running a combination fiend and I would tongue-tied. I would run what could support this are both with these Horrorland cards. I would run a combination Horrorland, Dark World, and Alien deck. The Alien deck is full of reptile monsters that could perfectly work well with these.